Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? So I had to use a guy with a spear to represent the boy from the abandoned, the the beast. But man, this show is actually pretty brutal, man. I'm not sure if a lot of people saw all this coming and stuff, but as of right now, there's not much. Hold excuse me. There's not much anybody can do for these people who have been fighting in multiple wars and using this ability time in and time again, which now I finally got my understanding as to why our Captain Hank or whatever, uh, why he wasn't always transforming, why he wasn't always, right there side by side by his comrades and, helping out and stuff like that. And come to find out that because he's an actual werewolf, like he literally just can't come out, his abilities can't come out until the nighttime. So they're literally making him, act an actual werewolf, which is pretty dope. Not to mention that he's like a white werewolf that looks sick. Um, but the thing that got me kind of interested even more was the fact that the guy who, kind of started all this and, I mean, clearly didn't take out any of the soldiers after, um, I mean, maybe he did, and we'll learn that later on or something, but as we know right now, he didn't kill any soldiers, um, after he was given the gun, right? Like, he gets the gun that can, the god killer bullets and stuff, and for some odd reason, he doesn't go and take out any of them, right? So, that's kind of my next like standpoint of what does he want out of all this, or what can he gain from having all of them running rampant, or you know what I mean? So maybe in another way he could have been, putting them out there so whenever they cause these troubles, maybe he could have showed up and been the hero. But I think in the grand scheme of things, if I'm a since I'm a guessing man right now, uh, I have a feeling that what he wanted was to let these monsters run free and create whatever domains they wanted. And after these domains are created, he could easily take them out with the bullets, that could literally take out these beings quite easily. So it's almost as if he had, um, it feels like he had some type of plan, with not killing them. I mean, because imagine having to deal with an actual dragon that's fully rage, has no humanity left, and you just got to go at it. So it almost gives you more detail or it gives me more of a feeling that he's like very, very comfortable with his abilities. So that's kind of what I want to see is this guy's main goals and stuff like that. Why shoot the captain and then take out the girl who, you supposedly started all this with? What was the case, like what was the reasoning behind it and stuff like that? Should be interesting. Hopefully it's not anything like I just wanted to be all alone with this power and everybody else had the power, so I had to take the power away from everybody. Like, if there's something dumb, I'll be pretty let down. But it feels like this show and how it's already kind of gone gives it a chance that it won't be some lackluster like ending. So I'm hoping that's the case. Like we get something pretty dope overall. But if we don't, I mean, come on. Like some of these shows towards their endings are like towards just close to ending. You can kind of just see it in the overall show itself. So with all that being said, we really just get to see an ultimate fight with how the werewolf probably became the captain, right? Like this man is ridiculous with his abilities, and the only time he actually gets to use his abilities is at night. So while everybody was getting used to their powers and using their powers multiple upon multiple times, I think that's what actually drove them insane to the point of losing their minds. And it's also why we saw some people losing it quicker than others because, I mean, for instance, the guy with like the three-headed snakes, he lost it while, like amongst the soldiers, I believe, and stuff. So to think that you could lose it that quickly and lose your mind and everything you've been fighting for up till this point, he was killing his own soldiers and stuff. He was literally grabbing them and poisoning them because he just had no control over himself. So it seems like the more you use your ability, the more of a monster you become. And if you guys didn't watch my very first review, or I think I talked about it more in my second than my first, but there's a show that I used to watch, and the first season was so amazing that I didn't think the second season could ever do wrong, and boy was I wrong. Um, so to see this show doing something like that, it straight up took me into the world where I used to watch Terraformers, and the premise behind that was cockroaches were on Mars because we send them there to see if Mars was livable, and come to find out it wasn't, or at some time until like more time went by. But these cockroaches that we sent lived there and went through like a huge growth transformation to be able to live out there and like as the dominant species and stuff. Anything that was out there, they were dominating it. And the thing with the humans and like using a power that will turn you too much into a monster is we found anything that was good enough to kill or take out cockroaches, and they fused the humans with those insects or beings, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. Like they had to take these shots to transform, but every time they were taking these shots, it would completely alter their DNA to make it more towards the exoskeleton of the insects, and that's what pushed them over the edge is just fighting too much and using it too much. So that's what kind of feels like is happening here. Like if you just happen to be one of the ultimate fighters for this squad, you're probably the most likely to have already gone insane and lost it, right? So it kind of sucks, and at the same time, we're probably going to see more of, like good people that just got lost in it. So that's gonna suck. Seeing that our main character fight someone who he pretty much, taught things to, and he really probably just didn't want to see this guy the way he was at the end of the day. I mean, he knew he was a coward, but to think that he stayed a coward all the way after the war, even with the power of a minotaur, it's just goes to show you that his human side is somewhere still in there, and because of that, he really wants to, he really wants to help, and he can't. Like, only way he can help is literally putting him down, and once he puts him down, he's actually happy. He actually feels better. Um, I don't know. It's hard to like swallow everything that they're giving us within this because not only that, they're then showing us people who are, you know, clearly the cause of the reason why um, these incarnates are still going wild and free, and no one put a god bullet in them, is because of the guy who we see at the end of the end credits and stuff. And he has someone's body in a tank, so he might be still making incarnates as well. So that could also be a thing, which is pretty sketchy. Um, I don't know. I think this show has really good potential of doing something ridiculous towards the end of it all, and we're probably going to see the end of the werewolf guy. because of the how many bullets there are, or, the bullets that we see are just not even the top of the line bullet, so we'll see how all this plays out. But to be fair as well, um, I feel like the show is definitely rushing to the end, right? Like, there's not too much um, that they're going to probably be setting up for in the grand scheme of more stuff popping off besides just the incarnates and stuff. Like what we just saw this at the end of the credits is the fact that, you know, whatever's gonna happen next week, it looks like uh, the werewolf guy is gonna have to work with, whoever he can pretty much to get this done. And because of that, it feels almost more authentic in the case of these big monsters rampaging, and only, a handful of people have been showing up to try to stop them. Didn't really make sense. So to see like finally the army and like multiple people showing up, or people trying to protect their citizens and stuff are actually finally showing up. And for to be fair, the Minotaur guy had set up so many traps in his fortress that people that were going in there were just getting bodied left and right. So they didn't even stand a chance against just his traps, let alone getting into the battle arena with him. And he starts hitting all of the traps that he has in the battle arena that lead to like cannons and stuff. So our main character is literally capable of dodging cannon fire from all directions practically. Also, of underneath them, a giant like spike came out of the ground, and he used it to propel himself in the air to come back down to attack. Which, as a werewolf, he took zero damage, and as someone turning into the werewolf still, uh, he he was in his human form when he stopped like a full blown axe coming at him. He did have his white hair up, but he still hadn't fully transformed. So it's almost like because he trains himself religiously, like his body and stuff, it's just naturally already a good match for being a werewolf because of the natural strength and the natural speed that he's gonna get from being it, and then not to mention the fact that uh, he was already a captain, probably for a good reason, right? He's not just a captain because they're like, and the unlucky person who gets to be the captain of this place is you. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a reason he's a captain. So not only was he in shape, not only did he, keep up with some of these monsters while in his human form, he stopped a Minotaur attack that was coming at him at like full speed up in the air, dropping down at him with one hand, one human hand. So, I mean, sure, his probably superhuman strength kicked in back like in that moment already, but just to see like this pinnacle of him grabbing the blade with one hand and practically just, shoving it back and in the guy's face and like getting it out of his own face was stupidly hype. So I enjoyed it. I have, like I was saying, that this show has high potential. And I think once I first saw like the first episode, I kind of could figure that something cool could happen or something really lame might happen at the end. I'm not entirely sure, but at the same time, I'm not going to use my own like, oh, my thought process said it might be lame, so by process of elimination, I'm already gonna just stop watching it. Like, that's not how I roll. So if that was anything you guys worried about, if I just happen to find some little information out and I'm like, oh no, this little information right here, I'm good forever now, screw it. Like, nah, it's not that. It's not like that. um, but to be fair, if like something crazy dumb happens, I'm still gonna like elaborate and talk about it, right? I'm not gonna just be like, oh, that happened and we're just not gonna talk about it. Like, nah, we gotta talk about it. So thank you guys so much for the support and just the daily views and whatnot. I mean, I really I made this channel and all this stuff to have as much fun as possible and not only have fun but enjoy talking about things that I love talking about with people who love the same thing I love, or maybe they don't love it but they still have strong opinions about it, and I love to hear that type of stuff just to maybe change my own opinion and to see the other side of things that I might not be looking at, that how people see it, you know. So I can't believe I got to talk to, as much people as I did, and a lot of awesome people watching my channel and even giving me words of advice of just not words of advice, but words of encouragement to keep going and that my videos are actually good and stuff. Like, that stuff right there really gets to me, and it makes me want to get on and find more anime that I'm into so I can give you the best content that I possibly can make. So thank you so much for that confidence, and I hope to make videos you guys really do enjoy. And like I've been saying way further back, if I can get this like upgrades and stuff like a laptop and be able to add some more stuff to the background of my videos, I definitely will soon. So I hope you're here for the change of that and, the upgrading of the channel. So have an awesome day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I will definitely be dropping another video soon. I don't know if I'll talk to everybody that's watching this, but if I do, I can't wait to talk to you there. And if not, I will definitely talk to you later. So with that being said, peace.